Okay, this room has a hearing loop in it. And all right. Just make sure I've got this correct. All right. Okay. Alan Katsura, could you please, well, I don't know if that'll work. Okay. I don't know why I can't see myself on the Zoom screen. Oh, there it is. Show meeting. There it is. I got it. And I don't know why Joe is here. Let's see. I'm going to share. Start all over again. All of a sudden, my sharing, there we go. There. Okay, that works for me. This room has a hearing loop. So this would be the time that you would activate your telecoil in your hearing aids or your cochlear implant. And if you're not sure what that's about, that's what this meeting's all about. So I'm going to explain it to you. But getting through some of the important parts, changing. This meeting is being recorded, and it will be posted on the chapter's website, on the YouTube channel. If you do not wish to be in the recording, there are some seats over there for you, and you will not be in the camera's view. So last time we were here, we had some people that were did not want to be recorded, so we set up some seats over on the side. Okay. This is a disclaimer. HLAA Mission Viejo Chapter does not endorse any single product or service. And this meeting is intended only to provide information, education, and support. I report this every time. Okay, let's see, next slide. We do have a sponsor to this meeting, and this sponsor has been a sponsor since about 2014. And this sponsor actually pays for the captioning provider who is doing the captioning for us. You can see the captions over there. There's also the opportunity. If you were sitting at home right now and you couldn't watch, you could click on this QR code. You have it on the back of yours using your smartphone, and you could read the captions. You could do that in this room. You could do this anywhere in the world. As long as the captioner is captioning, you will see it on your smartphone. Okay, so Caption Call has been paying for the cart provider for all this time. Caption Call provides telephones that can be hooked up to your phone network that will provide captions for everything your caller says. I find this extremely valuable when talking to medical and hospital offices. where often I find somebody with a foreign accent, and somehow or another, the captioner can get through it and can caption it. And I can save the captions, which is really important, because if you're getting prescription information, appointment information, it's all saved. You just, the latest phones will save automatically if you, in settings, you tell it to do that. So I save all my messages all the time, all the conversations. Caption Call now has a really great, they've always had a good mobile phone captioning, but now they have one for Android and iPhone. And this mobile app will give you captions for both sides of the conversation instead of just the caller or the person you're talking to. So this is a wonderful, wonderful benefit. Let's see. This mobile app also works on tablets and iPads. So, and their telephone number is on the screen, 877-557-2227. So if you think you could benefit by having a captioning telephone, please give them a call. There's no charge for the phone. There's no charge for the captioning service. It's all paid for through a federal program for you to access communications. Everybody is paying for this service anyway. It's a small tax that shows up on your landline phone or on your cell phone, and it's usually 10 cents or 9 cents. So this is how it is supported through this federal program. Any questions about that? It looked like you had a question. Okay. Yeah, and before you say anything, this is a hybrid meeting. We have people on Zoom that are looking in, and we have people in the room. In order for the captioner to hear, please wait for a microphone. And Alan is going to bring you a microphone if you have a question. So go ahead, Linda.
Okay. I'm interested in hearing more about this mobile app that can go on the iPhone. I currently have Live Transcribe. I don't think that gives captioning both ways. I'm not sure. I haven't used it for a telephone call. So I'm wondering if this is different from Live Transcript in that respect, because Live Transcript is a charge every year.
Live Transcribe does not work for phone calls. It does not work for phone calls. And as a matter of fact, in order for it to work, they will assign you a new number. You'll have your old number, but they'll give you a new number. So that's the number you want to give everybody. So when they call that number and it rings on your phone, it'll be captioned. But Live Transcribe is independent from phone calls. Okay. All right. So this is a picture of our captioner. This is Jo Gale, and she is in Chicago, Illinois. So it's the wonder of the internet and our ability to hook it up, and that she's captioning every word that I'm saying in real time on that screen. So, all right. Thank you, Jo. Okay, let me just, I would like to get rid of those captions. Hold on just a moment. We don't need captions on the Zoom screen and on that screen. So I just got rid of that. Okay. The chapter, HLAA is Mission Viejo, is a 501c3 tax exempt chapter, and any donations that you make may be tax deductible, depending on your tax status. And so the chapter is all volunteer. Nobody receives any income or compensation. And so we depend on your donations for your support. And actually, we are going to, these would not be tax deductible. Jeff, could you come and get a basket? Alan? So I'm going to pass the basket for donations and ask that you help make a contribution to keep the chapter going. We do have a lot of expenses, including this room, and next year it's probably going to double. Okay, so I thank you for that. My name is Toni Barrient. I'm the president of the chapter. I should have said that starting out. And I am a person with a profound hearing loss. I have a cochlear implant on one side and have a hearing aid on the other. So we're all in the same boat here. All right. I need to thank all of our sponsors, which I did thank Caption Call. So Jeff Chess, our treasurer, is here today. Marla Peoples, our vice president. Alan is here, who helps me with tech setup. Daniel Boone does refreshments. Yay, Daniel. And Bob Rennie is helping me with the sign-in desk. And Vrij over here is my all-around greeter, kind of be helpful any way you can. And I appreciate all of your help. Can't do it without volunteers. Can't do it all myself. And Alan Katsura, who is our Zoom administrator, he's on there holding hands with all the Zoom people. Just kidding. And so appreciate his help. All right. Now I'm going to stop sharing that. And I'm going to share something new. Oops, I got to do that through the share window. This is something kind of special I want to share with everybody. I just came back last week from the HLAA convention. 2024, it was in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not going to spend any time telling you about my drive over there and my drive home, only to tell you on both ends I had car problems. And when I left El Centro, California, it was 105 degrees and I had no air conditioning. But that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? I'm not complaining. The minute I got to the convention, it was wonderful. And I just want to show you some little pictures here. The purpose of the convention is to educate. Education is part of the HLAA's mission. And with the convention, it's focused on learning, growing, connecting with experts and with each other. We had over 500 attendees. And this beautiful resort in Hotel Sheraton in Phoenix. And we had over 30 workshops, and it covered everything. It was with a high level presenters, PhDs, MDs, audiologists. I mean, it was just wonderful. And we also took a look at something called Auracast. I'll be talking about that a little bit in a different meeting. But Auracast is some new technology that's coming out that in 10 plus years, it's going to replace the hearing loop. But for right now, we got the hearing loop. So HLAA also does advocacy on the FCC, the Federal Communications level. Their offices are in Maryland, And so Washington, D.C. is really close. And I lived in Maryland for 9 years and worked for this organization. So I retired in 2011 and came back home to California. So building a hearing loss community is what the convention helps to do. And it also helps parenting with kids with hearing loss. And it's so much more. So this is one of the workshops. It's just one. Every workshop has a hearing loop. Every workshop has captioning. Nobody is left out. Now, I want you to notice up front, on this side, is Berta, who's right here in the room. Yay, Berta and her husband were there. Yay. And Marcia, who lives in the Seal Beach area, was right next to her. And there's some various people back there, but these are Californians who are sitting up front and right there. And Berta, if you would like to say something, I'll give you a chance to talk about. Okay, wait, just wait. Okay, so that's me in the middle. That's Katie Wright in Long Beach. She's also the vice president of the California State Association. And Jana on the right is from Dana Point, and she's a member of the California State Board. Now, the guy in the middle, does anybody recognize him? This is Dr. Cliff Olson. He's very popular on YouTube. He's an audiologist. He lives and practices in Phoenix. He was a presenter. He did a wonderful presentation on best practices. And he really is a celebrity in the hearing loss community. So you may want to look him up. Dr. Cliff Olson on YouTube. I will be, in time, I will be providing links. I'll be playing some of his videos. He makes one big mistake when he does his videos. He talks too fast. But there is a way to slow down YouTube videos, and I'll be showing you guys how to do that. So I was happy to have a picture taken with a celebrity. All right. Okay, this is a picture of Jess. Yay! He's here in the room. He got a Volunteer of the Year award for the Walk for Hearing. So back in June, we had the Walk for Hearing. It's a fundraising event. It was in Long Beach. Last meeting, I reported on, it was over $40,000 was raised from the walk, not just from here, but from everywhere. And he was recognized for serving as treasurer for over 12 years for this annual Walk for Hearing. So congratulations, Jeff. Okay. So here's Randy and Berta. Randy is Berta's husband and me. We were standing in the exhibit hall. The exhibit hall must have had at least 90 exhibitors. So every kind of product that you as a hearing loss consumer might be interested in, you would be able to talk to the representatives, manufacturers, get free information, bend their ear, find out what's coming out new. It's kind of like Christmas, with presents and stuff. It's just wonderful. So anyway, lots of companies, a lot of the hearing aid companies, all of the cochlear implant companies are there, and they're all there with experts to answer your questions, demonstrate their products. There was a research symposium, which I really thought was exceptional. And they were discussing the emotional side of hearing loss. The focus was on isolation, which many of you isolate You don't go out, you don't participate because you're afraid you won't hear, you won't understand. And if you can't understand, why go? So there was a lot of research. So there was MDs, PhDs, and all of the presenters, they were all from different states, and they all researched together, and they came together in Phoenix, Arizona, and had a wonderful presentation. So every convention has a research symposium, and this one was just exceptional. Okay. Okay, so this is Berta and I. We're just kind of clowning around. Starkey Hearing Aids had a photo booth, and they were taking pictures for free. I actually have some nice ones, kind of clowning around ones, so it was fun. And that was in the exhibit hall. Yeah. Okay, this is a group picture, and this is only part of it. Now, all of the registered attendees from California met up on Friday at 5 o'clock, and we rented, the state association rented a private suite, so we could just have a party and get to know each other. And this was only part of the people, because there were people coming and going all the time. Funny thing, we did not know what the room number was going to be until we actually checked in. So then we had to go down and, tell everybody. And so we got the word out. We sent emails out to all the registered attendees what the room number is. So while we're here having a great time, all of a sudden, knock at the door, and it was the hotel manager and security, and they wanted to know what the heck was going on, and we're kind of loud because we're hard of hearing, so we sometimes talk loud. And see what had happened. There was nothing wrong. We were all just having a good time. But all these people walked by the check-in and said, "Where's room 1268?" And so you get enough of those people, and so that gets the attention of the hotel. They go, "What's going on in 1268?" Anyway, it all turned out fine. But this is representative of some of the California residents who were attending the convention, and they came to the party. The next convention will be in June of 2025, and it'll be in Indianapolis, Indiana. And that's all the details I have. I don't have an exact date, but I'll be sure and be telling everybody about it when I get that information. Okay. All right. Now we're going to jump into understanding hearing loops, because that's why you're here. Okay. Again, I'm going to thank all my volunteers. I just did that. Okay. Hearing loops are also known as induction loops. So that's the professional name. That's when they were created and manufactured, they were induction loops. But that's not a very friendly name. It doesn't really say what it does. So hearing loops was created, and that's the buzzword, and that's what we use. And so when you're in a hearing loop, then you can hear so much better. Hearing loops have been around since 1932. Boy, I'm just dyslexic. 1930, they've been around a long time. They're old, it's old technology, very reliable. Very reliable. Okay, but there's some threats to it. Hearing loops provide communication access for hearing loss equal to what the ADA provides for people with mobility issues. There actually are regulations under the ADA, American Disabilities Act, that require public and government entities to provide communication access, which means they have to provide an assistive listening device, of which a hearing loop is one. Hearing loop is one. So here in Laguna Woods, they are not required to provide hearing assistive technology and hearing loops because this is not a public place. This is a residential community. However, they do provide ramps for wheelchairs, parking. They have accessibility in the restrooms, all kinds of things. So when I started talking to them back in 2014 and 15, and I wanted to get hearing loops in all the clubhouses, and I'm working on it. We got one here. So on the basis that 80% of the population living right here in Laguna Woods, over 75, 80% have some hearing loss and could benefit from assistive technology. So let's dive in a little bit more. This is one of the signs you should see. It says hearing loop, switch hearing aid or cochlear implant to t-coil or request headphones. I'll talk to you about that. So you can see that there is it looks like there's a wire in the ceiling or there's a wire below. It can be installed in either place. I saw this loop installed, and I can tell you that it is in the baseboard all the way around this room. And it is connected to the PA system in the back. The sound is delivered to you in your hearing aids or in your headset if you're wearing one. Could you get me one? Yeah. Directly. So Alex, I'm going to go through the piece by piece. In order to hear you're going to hear the person that's using the microphone. So that means, thank you. So that means right now, if you're not using Telecoil, you are hearing reverberation in this room. The speakers in this room are a little loud. I can't touch the adjustments in the back. That's a no-no. They have people that deal with that. So they know we're hard of hearing, so they kind of crank it up, but it's too much. So using a hearing loop, you can shut out all that background noise. And my voice or whoever's speaking on the microphone will, let me get to the next screen here. It travels seamlessly, wirelessly. It's like streaming directly into your hearing aids. Your hearing aids need to have something called a telecoil or a t-coil. A t-coil is the copper wire, and against the size of a dime, you can see kind of what it looks like. And it's inside the hearing aid. Here's an invisible one. You can kind of see the copper wire that is in the hearing aid. 80% or better have hearing aids have a telecoil. They have one in there. You may have one and not be aware of it. So right now, how many people in this room have hearing aids and they know they have a telecoil and maybe they're using it right now? What we got? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Doug, you know because of previous meetings, right? Yay. And because you see Anne, so she makes sure you're all connected. Okay. What you need to do is you need to ask your hearing aid provider if you have a telecoil and ask them to activate it. And then come to the next meeting with an activated telecoil. Yes, question.
Yeah. I have brand new stocky hearing aids. I don't know whether there's a telecoil in there. I've never really investigated. Do most new hearing aids, say within the last year, have telecoils in them?
I heard at the convention that Starkey is committed to putting telecoil in every hearing aid that is big enough to put one in. So there are some hearing aids that are itty bitty, kind of go in there, and you can't get the copper wire in there. But I would imagine that you probably have behind the ear. So all you need to do is to get one of these. Did you get one of these? Okay, so open it up and you'll see in there, do I have a telecoil? This will help you ask your audiologist. There's a little thing here, dear audiologist. So that's what you want to say. You can call them on the phone, find out if you have a t-coil, make an appointment, ask them to activate it. I'm sorry, microphone?
Going to see my audiologist today, and when I got the new hearing aids, they did not put in so I could turn the hearing aid off. So I have to go in and have them do that, and I'm going to ask them about the loop, okay. Whether I have a loop in my hearing aid.
Okay. You do not have a loop in your hearing aid. You have a t-coil. The loop is what they put in the room. It's a common mistake on anybody who wants to put a loop in their hearing aid. I'm going to correct them. So it's new language. This is new information. Just know that t-coil is the little copper wire that goes into a hearing aid. Now, when you want to use the t-coil feature, then you're going to flip through different programs that your audiologist or your hearing aid dispenser has provided for you. And that's part of the instruction they will give you when they activate it. Okay? There's also, did you get one of these? It's a card. Okay. This is information for the audiologist. And on the back side is how you make your request. Because I know that the language is different and you're not sure how to ask. So it's all written out there for you. Okay. Okay, so pick up this brochure, which you have. And then there's this card that I just spoke about. It's on my slides here. Warning. This is a big warning. You may be told by your hearing aid dispenser that telecoils are out of date. You don't need that. What you need is a Bluetooth. I'm not going to deny Bluetooth is important. You don't want to give that up. But a lot of hearing aids, you can have both. If you're in a position to purchase hearing aids coming up, request both Bluetooth and Telecoil. Bluetooth will only work with very specific devices. For example, they help you with your cell phone, helps with a TV adapter. But when you come into a public venue, Bluetooth does not work. Assistive devices that you could borrow don't work, but they can work when you have Telecoil. So, but just know right now, the audiologist wants to sell you Bluetooth, and a lot of the hearing aids, Oticon, Widex, Starkey, Resound, Phonak, a lot of them, they'll all have the Bluetooth in it, but don't let them tell you that the Telecoil is out of date, because it's not going anywhere. And it really does not add to the cost of the hearing aid. Just get one that comes with it. Request your hearing aid provider to have both Telecoil and Bluetooth. And all right. Here's another warning. Auracast is coming. Auracast is a new technology, and with great promise. We got to see it demonstrated at the convention, and it does look good. However, it's not going to be available for public use until hearing aid manufacturers put Auracast adaptation into their hearing aids. It's going to be over 10 years before that happens. In the meantime, we have hearing loop advocates like myself having hearing loops put in theaters and churches, synagogues, everywhere. And they're not going to go anywhere. You're still going to need those. So don't let your hearing aid dispenser convince you. Don't let them convince you that you don't need Telecoil because it's old fashioned. It's not. All right. Have them call me. All right. So the T-coil, the microphone picks up the sound and it goes wirelessly to your hearing aids, but you can also use something called a loop receiver. So a loop receiver, okay, also known as a loop listener. So you put this on. This is if you have no hearing aids. You put this, you can check this out in this room. In the office, they have some receivers. So, and I always bring my own receivers so you can check it. Is there anybody that would like to check one out right now, just to try it, just to see how it dampens all the background noise? Anybody want to try it? No? Okay. Not only does it work with a headphone, you can bring your own headphone and plug it into the receiver. So if you don't want to use somebody else's, a headphone that's been used by somebody else, or you can bring earbuds, put earbuds in the receiver and put it in your ears and hear it directly. So if you don't have hearing aids, or if you have hearing aids, but you don't have Telecoil, you can still use the headphones, but you want to wear the headphones a little high on your hearing aids, like this. The reason is because the microphone in your hearing aid is on the top. So you want this to rest on the top of your hearing aid. So it's a little bit higher than normal. All right. So this is called a loop listener. You can also refer to it generically as an assistive listening device. And they are available in the office. Now let's talk about. Look for this sign. There's a sign on the outside of this room. I'm going to be going to the recreation meetings and GRF because I'm going to insist that they use this sign inside the room. So when you sit down, you see it. Because once you pass through the door, and if you didn't see the sign, you wouldn't know that this room was looped. You wouldn't know to borrow a device if you needed to borrow a device. So I want that uniform in all of the clubhouses that have a hearing loop. There are 2 papers on the flyer desk over here. One describes what a hearing loop is. Please take that home and let it be a review of what I've discussed here. And also on the back side is what is a telecoil. New loops are scheduled for Laguna Woods. So Clubhouse 5, July 29th through August 2nd. The big room is going to be looped. So the hearing loop is being installed, Clubhouse 5. Clubhouse 6 was installed just last week. So if you go to any meetings in Clubhouse 6, you'll be able to use the hearing loop. Clubhouse 1, is being renovated. During this renovation time, they're going to put a hearing loop in the big ballroom. The art room already has a hearing loop. So I hope they don't tear it up, because that's what they seem to do. There's some repairs that are outstanding. Dining room 2 in Clubhouse 3, also known as the Performing Arts Center. That loop was destroyed when they put down new flooring. They were not respectful or mindful of the fact that there was a hearing loop there. They could have avoided damaging it. And it's been a very long time. Linda can testify. She goes to a meeting every Friday in Clubhouse 2. She can't hear unless she has that loop, and it's still broken. Also, the head technical guy says that the theater needs the loop in the theater needs a tune-up. So that hasn't been done either. We all need to complain. I can't be the only one complaining. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you have the opportunity to go to the supervisor in Clubhouse 3 and complain, say, I really miss this. Why isn't it done? When is this scheduled to be repaired? So they don't realize, for those of us who use it, they don't realize how important it is and how meaningful it is to be able to hear crystal clear, hear the speaker right in your ear. All right. Somebody have a question? Linda has a question.
I just want to encourage everybody to complain, because the person in charge of Clubhouse 3, his name is Drew, and he's the technician in charge of this, and he's very responsive to calls from individuals. I spoke to him. He was excellent. So I think we can all call him and complain. I think not just me and Toni, all of us have to start doing this. And he's very nice, but he needs to hear from more of us.
Drew is a wonderful guy. He's the one that finally helped me with the hybrid setup here. So he's really great. Laura is the clubhouse supervisor. There's two people you can complain to. I can't remember what Laura's last name is off the top of my head. And I've known this lady forever, and I know she wants to please everybody. But, you know, I email them every day, say, what's the status of the repair? Well, it's not done yet, but that's not enough. And I'm, you know, as far as I know, Linda, I know you're going to be on this almost every week. What's the status? Okay. There's another flyer, looks like this, on the table and hopefully in your packet, that actually describes here in Laguna Woods what's where. I just told you about the new loops coming in. That's not listed here. But every clubhouse, like the boardroom in the community center, is looped. The PC club, the learning center, is looped. So if you're taking classes from the PC club, which are free now, you should sign up and take classes. That's great. And they got a hearing loop in there. The Elm Room, where we started having meetings in September, I got that looped. And then I told you about Clubhouse 1, Clubhouse 2, the main ballroom, that's looped. 2 smaller meeting rooms, they're both looped. Those are, acoustically speaking, the 2 small rooms that are meeting rooms in Clubhouse 2 are horrible. The acoustics are terrible. You won't be able to hear anything unless you use the loop. Anyway, so, and I'll be updating this after the summer when all the new loops are in. Now, some interesting information. So where else can you enjoy a loop? And this is where your advocacy, your requesting is going to make a big difference. In the first picture here, we actually see a supermarket. This happens to be Wegmans, that's on the East Coast, and they have it at the cashier station. They have this appropriate sign. So you walk up to it, you either use the app on your smartphone to turn on t-coil, or there's a switch right on the back of your hearing aid, turn it on, and everything that the cashier says back and forth, you can hear perfectly. It doesn't matter what's going on in the supermarket. This one over here is a pharmacist, and he has something called a counter loop. So a counter loop, it looks like I have one that, like the down below there on the left. That can be plugged in, and you just walk up to it, turn on your t-coil. Wouldn't it be great to have that at the bank? If they don't build it into their window, which can be done, the middle picture up at the top, it's not a really good picture, but that can be, that's built in behind the plastic. Oh my gosh, you know, with the banks and all the different places that have the plexiglass, you know, because that was put up during COVID, you really can't hear. You need something like the Telecoil. So you just walk up, you flip on your switch, and then they, on the other side, they're talking in a little microphone that's behind the plexiglass, and you can hear perfectly. Okay, so here's a little picture. Bay Area Rapid Transit, BART. The BART ticket stations and all the BART cars all have Telecoil, all have hearing loops. So if you're sitting there wanting to hear your train stop, you'll hear it. Otherwise, you wouldn't. So this t-coil and hearing loops have really a lot of use, but it depends on us to get it done. All right. So here's some more interesting things. Definitely, this is a sign outside of use hearing aids, hear better in our new hearing loop. I love it. Did everybody get the hearing loop, a list of hearing loops in Orange County? Everybody got that? Okay. This middle picture I don't know, it's probably not big enough. I got him at a convention several years ago. He's a loop installer in Tennessee, and he wears a vest that says, "Let my people hear." So he loops, his thing is to loop churches and synagogues. So I loved it. I took a picture of his vest. New York, some taxi cabs are looped. Have you ever sat in the back of a taxi and tried to have a conversation? And you know, the taxi driver likes to chit chat. I don't understand a word they're saying. Anyway, so a lot of them have an induction loop, and it even says so on the outside. So here, this is where is this one here? This is a Boynton Beach City Library, and the police department, Parks and Recreation, customer service, all of these places have a built-in loop. So all you do is step up to the window, turn on your telecoil, and you can hear everything that the person is saying. Where would you like to see a hearing loop installed? I'll go first. Marla, go. You go. Oh.
Airports.
And I just want you to know the Phoenix airport, coincidentally, in time for the convention, had hearing loops installed so you can hear the announcements, the planes coming and going.
Performing arts, Stigerstrom's performing arts, because I know Vanguard, I've gone to plays there and I use my t-coil, which I love. So I don't know if the performing arts has it.
As far as I know, so I've sat down with Segerstrom and the loop installer, and that was pre-pandemic, and it's a big job. They just didn't go for it. They have an infrared system that just flat out doesn't do the job. So we need, you know, a lot of the people from Long Beach and the Orange County chapter, they've been complaining to Segerstrom, and they have a disability coordinator. You guys need to contact them. Here's a place that I would like to have looped. Places where they do memorial services. I would be interested in hearing what somebody has to say in a eulogy. I can't hear it. Now, one of the local mortuary places, I caught them on Facebook. They were bragging about something, and I says, "Well," and so I sent a private message. What have you got for people with hearing loss? You need to install a loop in your sitting room so that we could understand. They're just right out the gate here, not too far away. They get a lot of business from Laguna Woods. So that's where I would like to see a hearing loop. Anybody else have any ideas? Where do you struggle to hear? The community, you know, the community center right here for a resident, the residence center. Have you tried to talk to the community service people? It's very difficult. It's very noisy in that room. The least they could do is to get a countertop loop. Okay.
I went to my 60th high school reunion, 60 plus, and I couldn't hear what everybody said, and I wanted to hear, but I don't think the high schools would put it in. But I felt bad because I saw all these people. They didn't know I couldn't hear, but I missed everything. And someone said, "Berta, you still have a voice." And of course, I backed off. I didn't say anything, but I missed a lot.
Okay, so let me tell you that if the venue where they held the reunion was a hotel, it wasn't? Well, that's a public building. If they have a PA system that's part of their room, they should be able to provide, maybe not a hearing loop, but there's other types of assistive technology that can be used. But that requires planning in advance, making the request. So Marla and then Linda.
Hospitals. In a hospital.
That is.
How many times you're there and you have to put a sign over your bed? It's your hard of hearing or something like that.
That is wonderful.
In the hospital, there's not a PA system. So it doesn't fit the bill for the ADA regulations. If they have a conference room and there's a built-in PA system. However, there's no reason in the world why they couldn't use a countertop loop, a portable loop, one that has a handle on it and they could bring it to you. Yes. The other thing you could use is something like Live Transcribe, a tablet or an iPad that listens to the captioning and you can see the caption. I'll tell you, I got all kinds of ideas. We're not going to go there in this meeting. We're going to close in just a few minutes. But there's many places that can use a loop. So Linda, microphone, hold on.
In the community center, you have the PC club. What about the Mac club? For all the Apple products. There's two different learning centers. One is the PC. The other one is the Mac. And the Mac has all Apple products.
The reason why the PC club has one is because I was a volunteer for the PC club. I was the membership chair and I says, a loop's going in here. So I'm not a Mac person. If you're a Mac person, you go and talk to them. They're having issues right now, whether they're even going to stay where they're, everything's in kind of turmoil, but that's something you should definitely advocate for. Okay, Daniel.
Just a comment about the difference between the quality of trying to listen from speakers versus what's the word? The loop system. I find that just the speakers, you depend upon the quality of the speakers and you can't improve it because it comes into your hearing aid. But with the loop system, you get much better clarity and understanding.
Absolutely. So of the people here in the room, how many people are going to talk to their hearing aid provider to find out if you've got a telecoil? Yay.
I just wanted to ask, what about at gate 5 and 6? Going in there, can't hear anything because I'm profoundly deaf, and they stop me all the time.
Okay, I live between gate 5 and 6. So are you talking about Clubhouse 4?
What?
Clubhouse 4?
Yes.
If there's a PA system, and I don't think there is, there may be other solutions for you, and I would be happy to talk to you one-on-one, or even after this meeting. I can try to help you, okay? There's something for every situation.
I have another suggestion. What I am doing is at my temple, the Laguna Woods Reformed Temple, I have been providing them with information on the hearing club. I think the important thing is to educate people who have hearing loss to get involved with this group or get involved. They don't have to accept the way they're living. So I think the more that we at this club can do, we can do by going to our churches, our synagogues, whatever we belong to, have information on this club. The more people you have, the more you'll have people protesting, because people have given up. They don't know that there's such a thing as a loop, and they don't know that there's closed captioning that you can get on your telephone. I never knew about this. I mean, it's amazing the things that could be done. People don't have to give up, but they have to be informed, and this is a good place to inform them. And so you have to get people to come to these meetings. Look at, all of us know what we feel like, and look at all the empty chairs.
So pick up one of these little brochures and share it with somebody that is has hearing loss. What we want to do is we want to expand our hearing loss community. We have more clout. We know what to ask for. I would really like to talk to anybody who's on their way to the audiologist, what to ask for, what tests to request. A lot of audiologists do not practice best practices. And I want to see the maximum success for your hearing aid purchase and use. So I provide that information. I can't do it at every meeting. So you got to come. You'll learn something new at every meeting. All right. Thank you all. Thank you. And please email me, call me anytime. My business card is up here. It should be on a lot of the brochures. If you think of something afterwards, don't hesitate. And
There's some cookies left over.
Oh, cookies. We got lots of cookies. Please take a handful of cookies. All righty. Thank you. And thank you, Zoomies. Thank you, Alan. All right.